Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hot Combs and Popcorns podcast. Okay, my name is Brianna,
My name's Bobby.
My name's Danielle.
and one of the things we like to do here on this podcast is review movies and television shows that in Black culture we should have seen already, and it just ain't happened yet. But we watching them now, and at the end of this, we're gonna rate and discuss these movies and rate them on a scale from 1 to 5 hot combs. Okay, now remember we are zillennials. So we might have a little bit of a different opinion, but that's okay because this is a safe space. All right. So today kicks off our spooky season. Okay. That's my personal favorite season next to Christmas. Spooky and Christmas go hand in hand to me. Okay. I love spooky season. And to start off, we're going to review a very interesting, different movie. Okay. You probably know what it is. It is going to be Tales from the Hood. All right. So it is written by Rusty Cundiff from what I saw. Cundiff. I like that. Cundiff.
Yeah.
It was written by Cundiff and Darren Scott. It was directed by Rusty Cundiff, and it's starring Rusty Cundiff, Clarence Williams III, Joe Torre, David Allen Greer, Corbin Benson, and many, many more. When I say many, I mean many. It's a lot of people, a lot of things going on. Yes.
And isn't Spike Lee one of the executive producers?
Yes, the
Yes.
movie was produced by 40 Acres and a Mule production company. Okay. And she wasn't mentioned because she's not a main character, but Takia, the mother of Raven Simone on Raven's House, that's a Raven, all of those. She got a little cameo. Okay.
Oh, shoot.
But she got a little cameo because
I didn't even notice.
that was my TV mom watching That's So Raven. So I know her face.
Yeah.
Okay. Tales from the Hood had a release date of May 24th, 1995, is rated R, rightfully slow. So, and is 1 hour and 38 minutes long. Now, a quick synopsis. Tales from the Hood, if you did not know, is an anthology horror movie. An anthology means there's a lot of different individual stories, just like American Horror Story. That is an anthology series where each season is about a different topic. So this is an anthology horror movie that follows a group of drug dealers who encounter an eccentric funeral director who plans to give them drugs he found, but not before telling them the stories of the casketed bodies around his funeral home. And all of these stories have to do with the struggles of African Americans in different ways and shapes. So we're going to do this a little differently because it's an anthology, okay? So instead of giving our highlights and lowlights throughout the whole movie, we will be reviewing this, and we will be reviewing them in the order that the stories are told. And then at the end, we're going to give our final hot comb popcorn rating for the entire movie. But we're going to go through each story by name and order and talk about them. Because like I keep saying, wasn't expecting that. That was a lot going on. So first, to start off, we're going to talk about the prologue of the movie, the introduction, which was labeled Welcome to the Mortuary, and includes the characters Mr. Sims, Stacked, Bulldog, and Ball. The last three names I listed are the drug dealers. So how did we feel about like the entrance to the movie? Did it set it up? Were we excited? What was going on?
I was confused. I was like, I was confused. I did like the very beginning where they had like the skull and the little gold tooth that said 666 on it. I liked that. That was a cute little touch. But why are you buying drugs from a funeral director? Why are you trusting that? And then old dude's like, nah, I don't mess with the dead. Like, why'd you go in then? Like, I'm sorry, nobody can make me go inside to some funeral home where there's a bunch of dead bodies at night to go get drugs. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, not only that, but he was playing around with them.
He was.
He was like, oh yeah, the shit. I'll get you the shit. And then just opens a casket. Like,
I would like to say that I don't know how many movies I've seen this man in, but Clarence William III has always looked very scary to me. So he played crazy perfect. I was like, oh no, see, when people start talking like that and start talking out loud and not to people, you need to leave. I agree with you, Danielle. There's no way. I am not going in no haunted anything. I'm not. If you don't mess with the dead, you don't mess with the dead. Like movies and TV is one thing, but I'm not finna go ghost hunting
No.
Okay. I'm not going to Statesville Haunted Prison. I don't care how cute they make it for Halloween. No. People die there.
No.
That's a no-no for me. So why they would just willingly go get drugs? First of all, what type of drugs are we even talking about?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
what kind
like-
of drugs?
Is it that deep? Like, you can't find
It
drugs
can't
somewhere
be.
else? It can't be that deep.
The fact that
Where's
the
the
funeral
standard?
director, there's no standard. The fact that the funeral director is your plug, something's wrong.
Okay, I think you need to ask some questions. This man literally
Do
said,
better.
"I found drugs in the alley." So you and your friends then were like, "Yeah, this is a good idea."
They
Day
said
or
jackpot.
night. Why are you
Yes.
taking drugs from someone that they found in an alley?
I'm sorry. If I saw him off a first look and he was like, I found drugs, I will walk out. Because that, like you said, that man is scary. And you got some green, like a green afro, and you got some crazy eyes. Absolutely not.
Emphasis on the crazy eyes, because I was like, okay, no, I'm kind of scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was.
unsettling.
Unsettling.
I did not like. I mean, I liked it. It made you like feel like you finna watch some crazy stuff. I honestly also forgot. Like, I knew it was an anthology, and then I forgot by the first story it was an anthology, and then I started to get worried because I was like, if this is the first story,
Okay.
like, now what? Where do we
now
go?
look. So since we're on the first story, there wasn't too much happening in the prologue. It was just a lot of setup, very creepy, all that. The music also bomb. Okay. I very much enjoyed. Let's go to the first story. It was called Rogue Cop Revelation, and it follows Clarence Smith. I believe he is the officer, the black officer. And his, experience of watching his white colleagues basically like set up their well, who was it? What was he, like a
He
community
was
leader?
he was like a civil rights activist, it seemed like.
Okay. He was
trying
so
to
he
get
was like,
he was trying to like get drugs off the street. So like he was saying like, the cops are planting drugs, blah blah blah, and he was kind of like a figure in the community.
Trying to get rid of crooked cops.
Yeah. So basically the crooked cops were like, that's cute. And they set him up to look like he was taking drugs himself, and basically like killed him, pushing in water, which I was like, wow, this is different. Okay. A lot of work went into that. And the whole story is basically Morehouse using Smith, who leaves the force, to lure in these cops again and get his revenge. But don't get me wrong, Clarence Smith was on that revenge list too. He thought he was off the hook. He was not. So how do you guys feel about this first one? I had thoughts for sure.
Not gonna lie, I was in it. I was invested. Those cops got what they deserved. And
they did.
I was happy.
I was disturbed. Look, like I said, I love horror. And one of my passions back in high school and things were like special effects, makeup and stuff. That they made that man look creepy.
Oh, yes.
Creepy. I mean, everything was exposed. I mean, I love me some good practical effects, and they killed it with that. I feel like they had the most disturbing practical effect I've ever seen in my life, which was when the cop melted into the picture.
Oh my god!
I was like,
that was wild.
Oh
I was not expecting that.
No, not at all.
I was like, oh my god, like, because it's different. We see like a lot of CGI nowadays, but you rarely see like that type of stuff from the older days, or not older days, but pre-CGI. You rarely see stuff like that. So I was like, this man is in the picture.
In the picture. I was caught off guard because honestly, when we went from the beginning to this first story, I had no idea that this was the route that we were going to take. I did not know. I did not know that we were going to be, having a dead man grab a cop by the penis and drag him into the ground. That was not on my on my list. But you know, I kind of agree. I agree, Bobby. I was like, that's what y'all deserve.
That's what you
Like,
get.
that's what you get.
If I was watching this when I was a child, because I had told my roommate that I was watching this movie and she flipped out. She said, "Oh, no, it was so scary." And I was like, "No, am I going to be scared?" I didn't want to be scared. Then she said, "Well, you know, I saw it when I was a child, so it may have been different." The entire time I'm watching this, I'm thinking, if a child had seen this, my entire life would be different. And not in a good way. I would be terrified of everything, any and everything. I will say when I was watching it, I wasn't necessarily scared of anything. I think due to the fact that the effects aren't what they are today. And if I had seen this, if they did a remake or something, I definitely would be a little bit more creeped out. However, watching those cops get murdered to me was just very cathartic. You know, especially the way that the last cop got killed with the needles. I cheered.
I mean,
cheered.
The way that I feel about it, you know, he wouldn't have been able to grab your penis if your penis wasn't out. You know, like you was peeing on his grave.
Like, how dare you?
I feel like
how dare you?
You just kind of had it out there. If I was a Black person who had passed away in that certain way, and a cop was like, "Actually, I'm gonna pee on your grave," I would say I would also grab the first thing I saw.
Yes.
So I mean,
especially that one, and rip your heart out,
and rip your heart out, and it was beating.
Beating. Oh,
I was like, oh my God, what are we? I agree. I feel like if I watched it as a child, I would be traumatized.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. Honestly, I can't even like pinpoint which story would traumatize me more because it gets worse.
It gets worse.
It got progressively worse, but they're all equally disturbing.
Yes.
Like,
yes. I think I don't know. I don't know if we should like necessarily rate the stories via hot combs, because like that's a lot of math that people gonna clock us on. But this was quite the entrance. This was up there. I mean, that man was very undead. He was doing the Jason walk, you know, the Michael Myers walk. I'm not running, but I'm gonna be behind you every time. I mean, he scared them. And honestly, that's what they deserve, because I was a little upset at the conversation that the white officer was having with the Smith character in the car that was like, this is a brotherhood. What if you fuck up and you need somebody to lie to you? And I was just like,
ugh. But you know, when I heard that, I was like, I feel like they really do be having these conversations, because they said like, y'all like you can't break the code, don't break the code. And I was like, you know what, they be saying this in real life.
This is why this is why I have such a hard time with the conversations about like what is it called, like the training they want police to do to make them like less violent,
like DEI training or whatever.
I guess, like I heard it, I was hearing it last night, but like the different measures they keep trying to go through to like make cops less like reactive and stuff. It's just like, to me, that's great, but that's gonna undo everything when they're having conversations like this in the car in private. Like, this is a senior officer telling him, you need to do the brotherhood. It don't matter how much de-escalation training you have a police officer go through. When you have his partner saying, the only way I'm gonna protect you is if you protect me when I'm fucking up, and that's your life on the line, that's kicking in flight or fight, and their fight is gonna be against us. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't remember the show, but if you want to like know more about how that goes on, I think it's I don't remember. It's a show out right now. I think it's on Amazon Prime, if I'm correct, either Amazon Prime or HBO, where it follows the police officers from the city that Freddie Gray was killed in. It's like Jonathan Bernthal is in it, and it just basically follows them being very corrupt and how their interior conversations turned him into like a green cop into this evil, corrupt cop. I don't remember. It's called We Are Something. It's very fucked up. Prepare yourself for it. But if you really want to go into depth as to why this scene was very disturbing, watch that. Because like you said, them conversations happen in real life. It don't matter how much training you do. If they have that mentality in the force, it's going to be there regardless.
Yep.
Honestly, this whole movie was a little too real for me.
It was very real.
Just a little too real. Even Clarence. I don't know if I should spoil the end, but the fact.
Don't spoil the end.
Don't spoil the end, Bobby.
We're going to go in order. Okay, so this is what we're going to move to the next story.
I'll come back to Clarence at the end.
Yes, because the movie ends. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the
next story is called Boys Do Get Bruised. And it follows Walter Johnson, who's like this little boy, like this 9-year-old boy, who has come to school with bruises on him and is like, tells his teacher, who is played by Rusty Condiff, who is the Richard Garvey character, that there's a monster in his house. And this one was a little too real. This one was also a little too close. It wasn't close to my home, but it was too close to home in the Black community. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that one.
Ooh.
How do y'all feel about Boys Do Get Bruised? Because that was
well, I was nervous at first because the way that Clarence, funeral director, what's his character name again?
Mr. Sims.
Mr. Sims. The way that he set up the story about Walter, I was nervous. I didn't want Walter to be the one.
Oh yeah,
ask it. But what a pleasant surprise when I realized that it was not about him. However, monsters, at this point I didn't put nothing past this movie. And I also didn't take lots of notes this entire time because I was in it. However, the one that I took for this, when the switch came and we realized what was really going on, all I could type was, oh nah, this is fucked up. Fucked up. And at the beginning, I was mad because Walter's going around telling these people that he's basically getting abused, and the teachers, and no one was doing nothing. But my mentality switched when the teacher did show up at his house at 8 p.m., which was a little bit weird, but I'm glad that it happened. This one was one of my faves. Flawless execution. I love a plot twist, especially one that's so visceral.
It's interesting because I remember like when like the plot twist started to happen and she was saying like, oh, to the teacher, like, you need to leave, blah, blah, blah. And in my mind, I was mad at the teacher because I was like, first of all, you're telling this random man that her son has bruises on his arms and stuff like that. And he's saying that like a monster is in his house. She already said that she is not married. She said she's a miss, not a missus. So you don't know who this man is. You're telling all their information. I ain't like that. And then I was like, at one point I was like, like the mom should have done this, should have done that. But I was like, that kind of goes back to like in the community, how people will blame like a mom or the woman first in a situation like that. Like, why didn't you take your kid out? Why didn't you like make a safer area for your kid? But like in that situation, it wasn't just Walter getting abused. She was also getting abused. So like, I like you said, it was flawless execution. I was not expecting it. I was kind of expecting a monster to come out. I can't even hold you. But when he was like breaking bones on the schoolyard when Tyrone was messing with him.
Oh,
and he said, let me just crunkle up this paper and let me just like whatever. And Tyrone broke all his bones. Why didn't anyone look into that? Why didn't anyone think that's kind of weird? This boy fell downstairs and he broke all his bones. Every single one of them.
They said maybe he got some weak bones.
He said maybe.
So that's some Black people stuff.
That is some Black people stuff for sure. He said maybe he got weak bones. I agree. I think this was I don't know. To me, I definitely saw like the twist coming before he like got there. I knew David Alan was in this. I don't know if I knew he was in this story, but I knew he was in this, and I was just like, I don't think he plays a funny character. I don't think he's funny in this at all. And I was like, oh, this is just like, it was a straight to the point. Like, this is this. It really hit home for me because like a lot of kids don't know how to articulate what's going on at home. And they use different words and people don't believe them. And it was like really sad. I feel like this happens to Black kids all the time. I like that this was a little bit of retribution. And that they kind of got a little bit like, you know, it was it took me out of it once like he started melting in the floor. I was like, okay, well, we are back to reality now. This is not scary. But everything else, I mean, he was beating them, and it was just very, I don't know, that feels like a straight from the street type of story, you know? It just feels very cut and dry. Like Bobby, I didn't really write notes for real. My first 2 notes actually had to do with the first prologue, and I wrote, how am I supposed to kill something that's already dead? That's a great question, referring to when they was like, if the person gets up, just shoot him dead. And then that whole refried beans conversation, great analogy.
That was great.
That was a great comedic relief analogy, because like, yes, why ain't you fry him right the first time? I wrote that, and I thought, like I said, the melting picture. For this, I didn't really write anything. It was great. It did what it needed to do. And I don't really have too many. Do y'all have any more thoughts on it before we move on?
No, but I actually did like that it went back to the crinkled paper. We kill him with the paper, because it reminded me that this is an aspect of sci-fi. That of course we can kill my mom's abusive boyfriend with a piece of paper. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
It fed into like that kid part, you know, because kids can't really do anything when abuse is happening in the home, and I feel like it put him in control of it. And I really love that, because it played on like kids drawing stuff, almost voodoo-esque. It played on that, and I really like that. I thought that was cute, and I'm happy that, you know, like you said, he wasn't the one in the coffin. I thought it was wild that they thought just by lighting his body on fire, the police would not want to know how his body ended up like that. But you know,
Tales from the Hood, you know, they may not have cared.
Black people die, they don't ask questions. So
the last thing that I have to say about this, this set part of it made me like really appreciate like and think that we really do need Black teachers, especially like Black men as teachers in schools, because would he have been comfortable telling somebody else that, like a non-Black teacher? I'm not sure, you know, because he even said like to the teacher, like, oh, he said that no one would believe me. So the fact that he was willing to come to him, willing to like show him the drawings and stuff like that, like big up to Black teachers. Like, y'all keep going. That was just my little tidbit.
I agree. Teachers don't get paid enough.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the times they are the ones that end up saving kids when no one wants to listen to them. I will say my only like thing I feel like was not necessary was the tattoo monster on his arm. That was a little too redundant. I feel like he would have called him a monster regardless. I don't think we needed to see it on his arm, but everything else,
great writing.
Chef's kiss. Now let's go on to something. Let me just say this.
Baby,
I don't play with mannequins.
That was
puppetry. No, I don't like it. Okay, there are a few things that I do not mess with when it comes to things that scare me, and it's any type of mannequin animatronic thing that looks human and starts moving. No, light it on fire, burn down the house. I don't fucks with it. So I was having a very hard time with this one, because although I was like, yes, I was like, please get this off of my screen. Let's move to, it is called the KKK Comeuppance. Very accurately titled. It follows Walter Johnson, who I just found out in this research is played by Corbin Benson, who was on the show Psych that I loved. He played like the captain, and I was like, wow, sir, I would never expect this type of behavior from you, because you said the N-word a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
But honestly,
a little too casually.
oh hell no the same amount of times at this point, because this was a nope type of situation. It follows Walter Johnson, who I believe is trying to become like mayor or governor or something like that. He's running for something in the city. He stays in this house. There's a plantation. Red flag number one. And this plantation is known to have like all these people die and a massacre happened there, which as expected, okay? And that basically the person who bought it was this like voodoo witch person who made all the souls be entrapped in dolls, and the dolls strike back pretty much. It also was very simple, cut and dry, and had a little bit more animation aspects into it. But how did you guys feel about KKK Comeuppance? Danielle.
So I just want to start off by saying this is why I will never disrespect voodoo. I will never disrespect people who perform voodoo, because I don't know. I don't know a lot about it. And I am not about to put myself in no situation where I am cursed. So
absolutely.
That I just had to start with that. This was a prime example. Why are you buying a plantation that people were massacred, buried, and their souls are entrapped in dolls? You know this, buying it. And he's like, it's a myth. It's not even true. I searched this whole house. I ain't find a doll. Sir.
Now you had what was coming to you.
Exactly.
Like he had to have known, even if he didn't want to believe it. He knew it was true. I had put on there in my notes, I said Duke Megger or Medker, whatever, prepare to get your ass fucked up. That's all I wrote down, because clearly it was coming. And regardless about how people feel personally about voodoo, or if you believe in it or not, I feel like, whatever is true to that person is real life. Okay. And clearly this lady, I can't remember her name.
I can't either.
Miss Cobbs had a vendetta. She had a mission. It was executed perfectly.
It was.
Yeah. Also,
love to see
I don't know why I called this man Walter Johnson. I don't know where I got that name.
Oh,
you said it, and I was
you
like,
did say Walter. It didn't even register for me that you said the wrong name. It's like, this man looks
because
like
Walter is the name of the kid. I didn't change the name. That's what it is.
Oh,
that's why the kid's name is Walter Johnson. That's my bad. Duke Medker is the campaign guy's name. Duke Medker.
Yeah.
I mean, I also like how the black guy did get killed in the beginning.
Well,
and as he should have. I did like that, because, regardless of who you are, if you step foot into this house, you have to respect the people that were in this house before. You can't just be... First of all, why are you helping this man with his campaign?
Thank you.
You're a black ass.
Selling out.
Okay. So you had to die. I'm sorry. You had to.
The minute that he said the only spooks I'm afraid of are the ones with guns, I was like, no. You're done. You're done. I'm done with
it. I mean, the fact that he would even touch a campaign person like that, I mean, because this is low-key, like, I don't think this is what Olivia Pope do. But this is, I guess it is. Because she would, like, get people out of situations, like, really. But, like, have you, like, uncouth is the only way I can explain that. Like, you have you no shame? Why would you ever want to be the campaign person for a blanketed racist who has called black people things in his own, like, this is what he did. He forgot he was light skinned, but he forgot that he was black. Not saying light skinned people forget this. I'm just saying he was confused. We see this a lot of the times when it comes with I'm so sorry, this might be controversial. Black men in power. We see this a whole lot where they put the man part over the race, and they be like, but we're men and we're powerful. We should have the same. No, sir. No.
It was giving Ben Carson. Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's it.
That's the review.
I don't know. You got tripped down the stairs. Should have been looking. I'm gonna tell you.
Oop.
How embarrassing. You fall down the stairs and you hit your head.
And you want to know what's crazy? I feel like if he had just like fell down himself, I don't think that he would have died. But because I feel like the doll had changed his trajectory. So that way that head had to smack, had to crack.
Had to crack.
I mean, as a Black man, that is extremely disrespectful for you to be in this house where you know this massacre happened of Black slaves and to try to be the campaign manager of an outward racist. What do you think is going to happen to you? You're not going to, the Black ancestors are not going to be like, oh, I get it. It was your job. No. And you openly made jokes about Black people in the house. So am I supposed to feel bad for you?
You know, the thing about racism, the people who stand up in their racism that are outwardly racist, it's all bad. But to me, it's almost better than the ones that pretend like they're not racist. You know, like they'll, you know, and that's exact. Duke definitely deserved to die. Definitely knew he was racist. This Black man, it hit a little different. It did. And so the fact that he went like that, I cheered.
No, for real. Because, I mean, you see all these things happening in this world right now. And like people who are supporters of certain people and are openly racist be having the nerve to like have like mask on and all these different, like, no, if you're gonna be racist, don't worry about your job, don't worry about your kids, if you're gonna be racist, show me your face, give me your government name. A lot of people try to be like, and I guess his name is Eli, that character. A lot of people, Black, white, whatever, they try to kind of be like this, oh, these are my feelings, but I'm not going to say them out loud. No.
Say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest. If you're going to be racist, be racist. Don't be out here talking about, well, I just feel this way because but I got Black friends. No, that's not going to get you into heaven, sweetheart.
No. I don't want to hear about your cousin's hairdresser's best friend who may have been Black. I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear about the fact that your partner is Black because I don't mean nothing. Okay, if you're a racist, you're a racist. And it just is what it is. Just because you found a Black person you can tolerate don't mean you ain't racist.
And that's that on that.
He did, look. He got what he deserved.
He did.
He got eaten alive.
Eaten alive.
And
you know, even before that, I found it so interesting because I have this feeling whenever I see an American flag on someone's
anything,
I just assume. You picking up what I'm putting down? I just assume.
Did you notice that he used the American flag to cover him when they were coming towards him?
I
did notice that.
As a blanket.
I was like, oh, your ancestors supposed to save you now. Oh. Baby, these are wooden puppets that are running around. Do you think a blanket is gonna stop them from eating your ass alive?
Okay. And he stabbed the picture. So he grabbed the flag with the little stick at the end, stabbed the picture, and she started bleeding. And I was
now let me tell you something. Outside the context of the race theme, that fucked me up. If I stabbed a painting and it started bleeding, baby, I'm gone.
Okay.
I'm gone.
Immediately.
This house, I'm gone. No.
I was so shook. I was like, oh my God. I was like, you made her children bleed again.
She must make you bleed.
She must make you bleed. It disturbed me. The symbolism in this specific one was masterfully done.
I love how, you know, he fucked with one, he fucks with all of them.
All of them.
They came deep, way more than was in the picture.
Way more.
When they started disappearing, I was like, oh hell no. I was like, oh hell no. Like
when the first one did.
The sides of my brain was fighting because one side was like, yes, I love to see it. And the other side was like, but I don't want to see it because this is triggering me right now. These little things is around. Let me tell you something. If I saw a little doll running around, baby, fire, acid. Like, I'm the river with a chain. This man ran up to the door and rang the doorbell.
Yes. Oh, I forgot. Was swinging on the chandelier.
All you heard was,
oh no,
No, that was actually
no.
That was unsettling.
I can't.
It was so unsettling. Oh my
I
god!
can't.
But
That's
this
a trigger.
please let this be a reminder or a refresher. Stay off of plantations. They are not. Stop having your weddings at plantations. What is the fantasy?
It's weird.
I don't understand. It's weird. Yes, Bree.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to keep doing it because it's natural selection. I feel if you need to be told, luckily, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively realized their mistakes of having a wedding on a plantation.
Wait, they got married on a plantation?
No, for a different day. They're just the ones I can remember.
Yeah.
But, people are legit making slave cabin and quarters Airbnbs.
Yes.
I feel like if you go and rent something like that, or you go and have some type of celebratory anything in places like that and you disappear, I'm not going to go looking for you.
Me either. You get what's coming to you. Anytime you go on any kind of burial ground, you treat it as sacred. That's the golden rule.
If my ancestors feel fit to drag you out, I'm going to let them do it.
Who am I?
Who am I?
It's what we deserve.
It's
let them get the reparations.
Okay. Look, I've driven through the South, and as a Black person, I didn't even feel comfortable going past plantations. It's a very eerie. It's a very eerie feeling, and I did not want to get out the car, and I was not here for it.
You start seeing them trees.
Oh, them trees, baby! I was literally
it's too much.
Like visually, obviously, like I wasn't high or nothing, but I was visually able to see like the souls of people walking around. I could see, feel, imagine Black people walking around these places. If you want to have a wedding, this is a PSA for me, Brianna, Shea Butter Brie. Hi. If you want to have a wedding or stay at Airbnb at a plantation, please, we need to decrease the population. Thank you for your service. All right. So next one that we're going to talk about, which gets even worse.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
I have feelings of, the next one, which really should have the words KKK in it, but it don't. It's called Hardcore Convert, and it follows Jerome Crazy K Johns. He's in jail. I guess he survives, and you'll figure this will wrap us up into the end of the movie, right? Because it's all interconnected from here. But he basically is going to jail for shooting people, and they were like, this Black woman with dreads, which it be the scientist women looking like that. She was like, if you want to get out early, do this little conversion, and we can get you out of jail quick. Well, welcome to hell. That's really what she said. They put him in this contraption and they tried to convert him, and they put him in an isolation tank. He started seeing things. And let me tell you, if we talking about the Black American experience, this is the one that's gonna make you cringe. My only thought about this is that comparing the KKK to Black gangs is a wild comparison. That is a wild thing to watch. If you have not seen the movie, go see it. But in the conversion therapy part, he's shown images of the KKK, dead Black people done in the hands of the KKK. Real pictures, by the way, not fakes.
We've seen these before.
Pictures of Black people who have either been burned to death, hung, stabbed with axes, all these things. And it's playing intertwined with like videos and stuff that they acted out and recorded for the film of Black gang members killing each other. So it's an intertwined, like back and forth, lights flashing, man spinning in a room, all types of shit.
With strange fruit playing.
I don't even think my brain could process what was playing at the time, because so much visually was happening that I was like,
Honestly, for me, it wasn't that part that got me. It was when he was talking to the KKK man, and when it's just I can't even say it. It's almost disgusting what this man was saying to him, to Jerome.
I'll say it.
Go ahead.
Basically, he was basically like, "You killed a blacks, I fuck with you." That's pretty much what he was saying.
Yes.
In short, he was like, he had a Nazi symbol, I think, on his chest, and in short, he was like, "You're no better than me. I kill blacks. You kill blacks. I see us as even." And I was like,
yes. When he said, "And what color were they?"
Yes, I wrote that down. I was like,
my jaw, it dropped. It really did, because like you said, comparing the KKK to gang violence is insane. However, the way that they did it here, it worked. And that is something that stays with you. That cuts deep into your core.
I personally, I was like, the only way I could really process the emotions was like, why am I being punished? I did not do this. I do not agree. I do not agree with gun violence. I am not in a gang. Why do I have to watch? I mean, why? Like, it really brings up a topic that I could talk hours on, which is the conversation about Black on Black crime. The only reason why I think this was like a very extreme example is because the gang members are not killing each other because they're Black. I feel like that's the only thing that made this example extremely extreme. Like, every single Black person you saw in pictures that was killed with white people standing around and watching was purely based on race. But to say that gang members are the same type of menace to society, to Black society, as the KKK is, I was like, this feels like something the government would not want to be out. Like,
especially like, because I know a lot of the gangs started off with trying to be like helpful to the community. They were like, that's how they formed. And then with like different things, different ways that they got corrupted, it became like with drugs and killing and stuff like that. And so, whereas the KKK, they just Black people, Jewish people, like that was from the jump. So for me, that was like you said, a wild comparison. Like,
wild.
And the part that really messed me up was when he was in the chamber and it was like all the people that he killed. And like everyone was like, why? Like, why'd you do this? And then the little girl came up and she was like, did I deserve it? And he was like, a bullet doesn't have a name on it. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Sir, she was in her house. And you killed her. Oh my God.
Disgusting. And the thing is maybe if he had actually apologized, if he had gotten the retribution, if he had seen the error of his ways, he wouldn't have died.
That was the other thing.
In real life.
That messed me up too. Because I really thought that he was in jail and he was in this little conversion thing when he like bled out, like, and the dude shot him. Like, I was like, I did not know that this was all fake. Like, that this was all in his mind. That messed me up.
And you know what? I feel like what makes it sadder is that, like, people who commit said crimes in the Black community, I think, especially like being from Chicago and being in this like height of stuff just happening, there is like a disconnect of responsibility. I feel like the overarching like idea of this is a Black community and we're supposed to be community, that doesn't really exist in the minds of the people that's doing this. Like, as you can see, instead of looking at like people as dead people, he was like, nah, all y'all deserve to hear. I mean, how you gonna tell a little kid they in the wrong place at the wrong time in a house? And that's happened before. That's happened so many times in Chicago, and I'm sure in other places where kids be like sleep on the couch or somebody just be in their living room, they get shot. To say to somebody and to say her to her face that you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time, like, to me, that's a type of like delusion and an individualistic thinking that is like the harmful reason. I think the whole conversion camp thing was trying to show him like, what you do, you're no better than them. You're still killing people. We're supposed to be doing community, and we've been killed and slaughtered by all these people, and now we are the ones slaughtering each other. I mean, it's a very relevant thing that's still happening. It's so relevant. Like, that's still a thing in the world when it comes to you know, gang violence and shootings. I think to see it done that way, I mean, it takes some balls to make a I don't know if you want to call it a skit, a story, whatever. It takes some balls to make something like that. To outwardly say that you are just as much as a menace to the Black community as a racial group was.
Yeah.
And they kind of pulled it off.
They did.
It kind of works. So
and it shows, and it showed that, like, even after all that, he was still justifying what he did. He was like, that don't have nothing to do with me. And they were like, okay, cool, we're gonna make you die. I don't understand like why he needed to be in Speedos for this. Thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I was definitely looking real hard, but by the time the therapy was over, I forgot that it had even happened.
Yeah.
Said, wow. And the fact that we haven't even talked about it until now says a lot. We be quick,
because it was, of course, it was a first mind. It was a first mind when I first saw it, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. That's happening. And then it was just like, and then I was just like, I don't know. Maybe he like needed to be like mostly naked or something for this, but like, yeah, I didn't see it coming either, that this was like a dream.
Yeah, I mean, for the Speedo thing, first of all, this man is Hakeem and Moesha, for everyone that doesn't know. He played Hakeem.
Is that why his name looks so familiar?
Yes.
Probably.
I was like, Lamont Bailey sounds so familiar.
Rest in peace.
Hold on. That's why. I did not know that.
But when they had him like in the Speedo and like in the chains, I was like, he looks like a slave. Like,
yes, I was just thinking that. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
They had to strip him down to examine him, to open up his mind.
Yeah. And I just thought like that this specific story, like, you know how Spike Lee will have like his wake up stuff, like in one of the previous movies that we saw, like he was like, wake up. This kind of felt like that to me, because she was telling him like, you need to take responsibility, kind of like Brie was saying before. And he didn't want to do that. And like, she was like, you need to do that to break the chain, blah, blah, blah. And I just find it so funny because like, well, not funny, but I just think that like, he was right. He was saying that the system was against him, his parents, his like everyone that around him, like he wasn't in the spot where he could be better, which may be true. But like at the end of the day, if you want to break a generational curse, because everybody's talking about breaking generational curses, it starts with you and it starts with your thinking. And I think that's what she was trying to like put into him. And he wasn't brought up in the right area for that. And I understand that, but he also just had no desire to change his mind either. So I thought like that really hit me, like it really does start with you. Like, I don't know, that was like the wake up for me. So,
and you know what? I feel like this story can be tied into Walter's story as well. Talking about breaking chains, feeling put down by the system, like you have no other choice. It could have been how Walter's mom's boyfriend, like some of his ideology when it comes to abusing his family, possibly, and how if we want to make a change, we have to start with ourselves. So Walter could be that new reincarnation of Jerome, possibly, because of what happened to him. And it's all freaking connected. I'm not gonna do my whole recap now.
Well, since we're there, now everything about to hit the fan. If you feel like it hasn't already hit the fan, so they're talking about this. Mr. Sims tells them we're back into the mortuary funeral home. Mr. Sims, he's telling them this story about Crazy K. And now I don't remember which one it is, but one of them was like, puts the gun to his head and they're like, you better not call the cops, right? So now it's revealed that the three gang members that are at the funeral home are the ones who killed Crazy K. So now we realize this whole last skit is a dream Crazy K was having. And then when he decided not to take responsibility, they like shot him up for real and killed him. And now they're like, oh, he's not going to call the cops, Mr. Sims, because he would have did it already. He knows that we are the ones who killed him. So then Mr. Sims is like, well, let me take you to the drugs because like you're here for the drugs. And he takes them to caskets of their own bodies, and it is revealed that this entire time they have been in hell.
Mr. Sims turns into Satan.
The devil.
He laughs, and then the credits roll. Bitch.
The audacity. They were looking at themselves in the coffin. They were like, what is this? He said, oh, you in hell, baby. Okay. The green screen, boom. All the cellar walls gone. We in hell fire. They burning to death. Credits, have a good night. Get home safely.
Now, can you imagine being in a movie theater watching this shit and it ends like that?
I would not move. I would just be like,
how am I supposed to go to sleep tonight?
Guys,
what the hell?
Now you're reevaluating everything. We saw Clarence. We saw the boyfriend, Duke, Crazy K, and now them. Now what? Now you're looking at yourself different. You have to.
Now you're thinking if you're a gang member, you low-key a KKK member with a different type of hood on. Okay. Now everybody looking at their abusive partners differently. Because some kid went to go see this movie with the abusive parent, and now he's sitting up there like this, and the kid don't want to move. What was y'all? Would you just wanted to wreak havoc with this movie?
Havoc.
My goodness,
havoc.
It's
what?
My jaw was on the ground once again. But with that being said, when they, when it was revealed that they are in hell, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how I feel about Clarence, the first story guy, being there. Because I mean, he did bring the cops back. Was he an accomplice?
He was. Okay, here's the thing. I feel like out of everyone, he deserved it the least. Everyone else deserved it. Like,
I feel like
he should have said. Like, first of all, Clarence, why is it taking you so long to type a license plate into this thing? You don't see, and your peripheral vision is terrible. Because why didn't you see something that they are beating this man? And you just think that they're going to take him to the hospital. Please.
This is what I'll say. I'm going to say this, and then we're going to wrap up, and we're going to move to our final ratings, which is going to be a thing of its own. I feel like Clarence Smith, the officer, controversial again, is what happens when you don't speak up.
Yeah.
You are just as bad, which I think is what they were saying. He was a Black cop, and that was great. And he wanted to make a change in his, his community, all these things. That's great. Yeah. But you're still a part of the system. You are a part of the system. And because you decided to believe, why would you believe the cops that you just saw beat up this community activist that they're going to take him to the hospital?
Right.
You aided in that. Just like with the whole George Floyd situation, whether these cops knew that the main cop was, did I say the right name? I said the right name. Whether they knew that, by holding him down like that, he was going to die, or they thought, whatever you thought it was, the man died.
Yeah.
The man
And they
still
stood there
died.
and watched.
No matter how good of a heart you thought you had in the situation, it's you still a part of it. And I like that of that story because like people need to start getting like hit with association charges. We need some RICO charges on these officers because just because you're not the one to pull the trigger, you sitting there and not saying nothing, you are just as involved. Okay, we got to stop doing this whole like there are good cops out here. That's great, but guess what? Just like with Black people, there's good Black people out here, but there's white people and racist people that think they were all the hard N-word. We're lazy. We're doing this. We don't get a pass just because we own a business. We still lumped in with that. So you don't get a pass just because you're the good cop.
Yeah, I think there also was a line when they went to the cemetery. The cop said, well, you know, why didn't you say nothing before? And I don't think he had an answer.
Exactly. Because
so yeah, he definitely he waited a while. And that's when he did get murdered by Mr. Morehouse. He says, and where were you at, brother? I said,
I mean, that's low key what it is. I mean,
yeah.
I understand that you're doing this profession and you're doing it because you feel that you want to make the change and all those things. But if you're gonna get sucked into the brotherhood, you are one of them at that point. Like,
right.
And now
we're supposed to feel bad because he's drinking. He may possibly be on drugs because of the guilt that he's feeling. However, we all know damn well he could have said something and then risked his own life for doing the right thing. You know, he could have done that. He could have did it. Or maybe not risk his own life, but risk his reputation, his profession. His profession ended up going to shit anyway because of the guilt.
Right.
So it was a lose-lose for Clarence.
I mean, look, it was the 90s. He knew what type of reputation police officers had in the 90s. You still want to become one, and that's great. And you did it. And now you get to reap the same type of things. Just because you Black don't mean that you don't get to reap the same type of consequences that these coppers did because you wanted to be the da-da-da. Anyway, so we're gonna wrap this up. Bring it in. Let's bring it in and try to wrap this up quickly.
Okay.
The Hockholms. We got to use them to rate. Okay. What are you guys' rating of Tales from the Hood as a whole movie, story, experience, etc.?
5 out of 5.
Period.
5 out of 5.
From the horror ball? Really? I mean, from the horror, you're not a horror buff. From the opposite of that, from the person who like doesn't fuck with horror at all.
Because listen, it made you think. It had me hooked the entire time. I was on edge the entire time. Okay. And I just feel like I said, there was a lot of symbolism. The way that they handled it was amazing. I don't want to say I had a favorite one because they were all like, you know, but the KKK comeuppance, that one in itself kind of just, it hooked me. So 5 out of 5. I recommend.
Bobby?
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna give it. Yeah, I'm also gonna go 5 out of 5 Hockholms for me because they covered police brutality, domestic abuse, racism, gang violence, political corruption, which are things that I don't normally like in my movies because I'm trying to have a good time. But it worked here. It worked, and they came. They did what they had to do, and they got out. I think I'm gonna watch the 2 and 3 now because I just have to know what else do they have to say.
Honestly, up until like right now, I have not figured out how to rate this movie because I feel like, and I figured out why. It's because it feels like a documentary, and I feel like it's really weird to like rate a documentary because like most of the stories that they have been doing is like real shit that happens to real people. I mean, I really, honestly, I'm gonna give it a rating because we have to, but I don't have a rating for this movie. Like, I don't know. It wasn't bad whatsoever. And it was a good movie. It was great. I don't know. It's weird. I don't really have a rating for this movie. If I had to give it a rating, I would give it between like a 4.5 and a 5. Like, it's not, I don't know how to rate like a movie like this. I feel traumatized. I feel assaulted. I feel like if I saw this in the 1990s as a kid.
No,
it's
I don't
wrapped.
even.
It's
The
wrapped.
man melted into a picture. I don't know how to process that. It was so much stuff going on. I kind of want to rate them individually. And that's, I don't know. The whole thing, I guess, is like a 5 out of 5. Not necessarily every story is a 5. I guess if the whole thing has to be rated all together, it's a 5 out of 5. But yeah, in general, I feel like I can't really like rate this for real. It
the
was great.
artistry,
the artistry, the writing,
the
special effects. I think it's always something to be said about the effects and things back in the day, because they don't have the same resources, and I think it always comes out to make the best creativity. So, also I looked it up. The movie that the show that I was talking about is on HBO Max. It's called We Own This City. If you want to watch it, just prepare yourself. It's hella fucked up, but it definitely touches a lot on how police interact with the Black community and stuff, and basically how we were talking about those conversations and that brotherhood. If you want to know a little bit more, it's fictional, but if you want to know more a little about it, We Own This City on HBO Max. So if you guys don't have any more suggestions or questions or anything else for Tales in the Hood, we are going to, or Tales from the Hood, we're going to wrap it up. Should I wrap it up?
You should wrap it up.
We left it all on the table.
We did.
We did.
We did a good job. I think we did a good job.
Yeah, this is a good one.
It was.
I'm just saying. We should put this on our resumes.
Mhm.
We be doing that. Anyway, all right. So that's been another episode of Hot Combs and Popcorn. Okay. Tales from the Hood got a unanimous 5 out of 5. I don't know if we've had a unanimous one yet.
Coming to America.
Sure.
Coming to America.
What, the first one?
The first one.
Okay.
Bobby didn't like the second one.
Bobby didn't like the second one. Okay, so we're number 2, and for this to be a spooky movie, and I think like I'm the only one that really fucks with the spooky, that says a lot, that you can convert people who don't fuck with the spooky and give it a 5 out of 5. So again, my name is Brianna.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Danielle.
And if you haven't already done so, please follow, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Throw us a like, share this episode, and leave in the comments below. Have you seen Tales from the Hood? Did you see it when you first came out? And when it first came out? And honestly, let us know how old you was, because it was rated R for a reason. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us who took you. And what are your thoughts on it? Let us know what movie and television show you would like to see us review. This was a suggestion for us to watch by someone I worked on set with. I'm not sure who it was. I don't remember, because I was talking to 2 different people. It was either Ed or Jay. So if you want to, go ahead and leave us, it was one of y'all, but I remembered it. Okay. If you want to leave a suggestion, please go to our Instagram page or our Twitter page and DM us. If you leave us a suggestion, you might get a shout out. I'm just saying, if you put it in writing, we can't say you didn't do it. So that's what we're going to give to you. But we've been talking for too long, and these street lights are flickering, and I don't like it. I don't like it, because we need to go home. So we'll see you guys next time, same place. Follow, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.